because once you've figured out what your data looks like and how you want to use it, if you create it as a data set, then that is reusable elsewhere. We will not limit it to 100 rows because this is going to become a data set, so we don't want a limited data set, we want all the data. So we get this pop-out window to say the publication has been initiated. The table will appear in your data workspace as soon as it's ready. That really allows you to expand the types of reporting you're able to do in ThoughtSpot. Okay, so in the previous video we looked at the Write SQL section of Analyst Studio, and that's what we've still got on screen here. Next up, we're going to look at how to make a new data set. And the videos are in order. Effectively, you would write SQL to analyze your data, do some ad hoc reporting as it shows there on screen. Secondly, the next step is to make a new data set, because once you've figured out what your data looks like and how you want to use it, if you create it as a data set, then that is reusable elsewhere. And then I would say thirdly is actually using the data sets. But we'll get onto that in the next video. Today, let's focus on making a new data set. Okay, I'm going to click that and we'll be taken into a new window. And here we go. So first impressions are this looks very similar to the Write SQL section. We're going to choose a table from the right hand side here. So we're connected to the public warehouse at the moment. We're just going to choose a table and I'll use tutorial.dundermifflin paper sales. So you click on that. Underneath you get the kind of schema explorer where you get to see the fields that are available and their data types. And if I click on the table name here, you can see there's a hover out that says insert table name in editor. I'm going to do that, and again up here you can see in the SQL editor it's just put that table name in there. We will not limit it to 100 rows because this is going to become a data set, so we don't want a limited data set, we want all the data. So now that we've effectively got our data here, this could be a really large SQL statement with many joins and such like. I'm just going to leave it as a basic query for now, just for the purpose of the video. Now I'm just going to say, yep, that is the data set that I want. So I'm going to give it a name. So first of all, we'll come to the top here and we'll go rename, and we'll call this demo dataset. Is fine, we don't need a description. You'll see now at the top it's been renamed to demo dataset. And now the options are, we can stick a schedule on it. So if I just publish this as it is, then that's just a one-off dump of data. So it's at that point in time that it was run, that's where it stands. So it would effectively, if you were connecting this in ThoughtSpot as a data set, be offline. It will never update. However, we get the option here to add in a schedule. So this is really when this comes into its own, because previously ThoughtSpot would only do a live connection to a data source. But now via Analyst Studio, you're able to set up a schedule and therefore effectively have snapshots of data. These might be what you would call an extract of data. So this could only run daily, even though the underlying data source is refreshing live, could be refreshing every second. You can just choose to do a refresh overnight, for example, or once a week, whatever your requirements are for that refresh. So we can hit schedule here. Let's say there are no schedules set up at the moment, so let's create a new schedule. This is going to run every weekday, 9 PM. That's fine. Okay, we'll create that schedule, and there we go. Just confirms that schedule is being created, and hit done. So that will now refresh on that schedule. And the final thing is to publish this data set. So when you do that, you get this pop-out window. Before we publish, we need to give it a suitable name. It's going to tell us the sort of data source, number of records, total columns, etc. So it's just some useful metadata there. And then it will say the imported table will automatically use the most recent results available. So that means if I wrote this query a couple of days ago, and then I go to hit publish now, it will run before it publishes. So it'll have the latest data available rather than the data at the time that I created it 2 days ago. So we'll hit publish. So we get this pop-out window to say the publication has been initiated. The table will appear in your data workspace as soon as it's ready. And the data workspace in question here is the data workspace in ThoughtSpot. So if you then log into your ThoughtSpot cluster, you'll be able to see, once it's obviously finished, this table will appear. So that's the perfect end-to-end use case there. You've written the SQL, published as a data set, and you can use it in ThoughtSpot. Obviously at this stage, that's not too dissimilar to just joining to a cloud data warehouse in ThoughtSpot, choosing the table, and then using it. Of course, what you could do here, this has come from, say, a Snowflake database, and we're going to publish that as a data set. We're We could also publish one from a Databricks Cloud Data Warehouse and publish that. We could also pull one from Google BigQuery and publish that. The beauty of this is that then when those are 3 separate datasets within ThoughtSpot, you can create a model in ThoughtSpot and join those 3 together. And then suddenly you've got what's called data mashup, whereby you're bringing in tables from several different data sources that previously wasn't possible in ThoughtSpot because it wouldn't allow cross-connection joins. Technically, you're doing that now because as far as ThoughtSpot is concerned, all these have come in from Analyst Studio. So that really allows you to expand the types of reporting you're able to do in ThoughtSpot. The final thing to mention here is when you've created the dataset, if you were to go back to the home page and into, say, for example, personal, where this dataset is being saved at the moment, there's no current validation to warn you if you're going to name it the same as another dataset. So that's something just to be mindful of. Also, if you want to go into that dataset and make amendments to it, you can do that by hitting the edit button up here on the top. And that's, again, where that will take you back into the SQL editor where you can make the changes to that. And it's giving you a warning here to say that this dataset is published as a table in the data workspace. So that's in ThoughtSpot rather than Analyst Studio. And any changes to its structure or name will require manual updates to that table. So obviously just be mindful. I think if we were to add a filter here, that's fine, but you need to know that downstream in ThoughtSpot, that filter will then be applied as well. And similarly, if we choose to, instead of doing a select star for all 30 columns, we just want to choose 10 columns. When this then next runs and updates in ThoughtSpot, there'll only be 10 columns, and that may well break the ThoughtSpot report because it's expecting 30 columns. So these are things, again, fairly obvious, but just something to be mindful of. Okay, so I think that covers everything in terms of creating a data set, editing one. In the next video, we're going to look at using a data set. So one that's already been built and you want to do some analysis on that. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.